I'm wondering what I got myself into at this point, but I'm here now, so there's no going back. But I do have a whole new respect for window washers.
This camper behind me, one of probably about 20 that are pretty smashed up. There's about 60 trees down. I would say maybe even more. The more I walk around this place, you can see just tons of trees down, cars smashed. It's just a real mess. The mom and the dad had left for the day. The 15-year-old boy asked if he could stay out here by himself, and they told him he couldn't, but he would have been in that trailer, in that camper, as soon as this came by. Such a head game. I mean, no matter which way you slice it, but even for some of these older guys, the honorary start this morning, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to try to hit it as far as they can every year. But this year, a lot of patrons were just so thankful to be able to see Arnold Palmer out there today. They weren't sure if he was going to be able to make it.
Parents, I want you to imagine for me really quickly. You have 2 kids already. Your wife wants a third. You're a little bit on the fence. She talks you into it, as us wives can often do. You go to the first sonogram. There's 1. Wait a minute, we've got 2. Oh, wait, we got a third baby? But that's not all. We see 4. 4 babies on the way. You've already got 2. Your family is about to double. Well, thankfully, places like the Children's Hospital of Georgia are here for stories just like this. Meet the Kirkland family.
There is never a dull moment at the Kirkland house.
There will be times when I'm upstairs and, getting them ready for bed, and they're all just crawling around on the floor, and I'm like, I have 4 of you, it's crazy.
I picture myself having 1 kid, 2 kids the most, but having 6, never.
You ended up holding a baby on the shoot?
Oh, like 2. I mean, that's the thing. When you're at the Kirkland's house, it's all hands on deck, you know?
Yeah.
When it was nap time, we each had 2 children.
Yeah.
I mean, it is organized chaos in the best possible sense of the word.
Federal law requires companies to meet a lot of requirements to keep you and your family safe when it comes to labeling chemicals. Usually you'll see stuff like child-proof lids and warning labels. But what the law has trouble protecting you from is putting those chemicals into other containers. That quick convenience for your cleaning supplies could cost you or a loved one their life.
Mark Dillman was a strong, healthy 37-year-old, never in the hospital a day in his life. But that was 5 months and 60 pounds ago, before a swig from a Powerade bottle changed his life forever.
A friend of the family had left it in the car, and we grabbed it thinking it was part of our groceries.
The friend had poured air conditioner coil cleaner, an extremely corrosive bright blue liquid, in the Powerade bottle to take to his uncle's house.
Took 1 big gulp, and it changed everything.
He started convulsing, screaming, vomiting, and felt his insides turn to an inferno.
It was hell. I begged God, I begged the doctors, the EMTs, just to kill me.
One thought that still haunts Mark: what could have happened, since his 8-year-old nephew was home that day too.
I thank God it was me instead of him, so he's my world. I love him to death.
Dr. Julie Jacobs treats patients in the emergency room at the Children's Hospital of Georgia and sees what happens when a child swallows caustic chemicals.
It's very serious. It can cause a lot of respiratory issues as well as the esophageal burning, and a lot of the kids either die from it or end up in the ICU. It really can just eat through your esophagus, and so the tube that you swallow and your food goes to your stomach, it'll just eat right through it.
She sees about a dozen kids a year come into the ER after being accidentally poisoned, and often chemicals poured into sports drink containers are the culprit.
Gatorade containers are really very commonly seen, and it's a big problem because kids either don't read or they just see Gatorade and they think, oh hey, it's fluorescent color, let me drink it.
Paint thinner is another easy chemical to mistake.
But we put it to the test. Antifreeze, paint thinner, and the air conditioner cleaner Mark drank. Nearly impossible to tell which is the drink and which is the chemical.
It had no odor to it. And I just opened it up and 1 big gulp.
That 1 big gulp was his last. Most of his food and medicine come from a tube, and he can only swallow small bites that melt in his mouth.
I want this to be in every mother's head or father's head that they don't need to do it because it could be their child. I don't want anybody to go through what I'm going through. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
It started out as a beautiful day on Clarks Hill Lake to kick off Father's Day weekend, but things quickly changed.
It came upon us so fast that We just literally ran the boat up on the bank, jumped out, and there was just trees flying and canoes flying and rafts and people hollering, and it was, I mean, from beautiful warm day at the lake to just pure chaos.
Josh had his whole family on the boat, including his daughter, Josie.
There was a lot of stuff blowing around, and we started running, and then I saw trees falling, and I heard people yelling to run and look out and watch the trees, and I was trying to get down, so I didn't know if I should lay on the ground or if I should just keep running.
Her cousin had just gotten to the lake with her dad when the storm hit.
I was in my dad's truck, and then we saw the limbs start breaking, and there was like several trees falling. We were blocked in. We couldn't get out. My daddy told me to get in the floorboard, and we saw wind, like there was all kinds of stuff, and I was scared to death.
Winds hit speeds of around 70 miles per hour, knocking dozens of trees to the ground, a lot of those right on top of campers and trucks.
Breaking news is they told me I got to pay for to get the trees removed off my camper. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now.
Certainly not the relaxing weekend anyone planned.
We're here for Father's Day weekend to celebrate Father's Day. But I guess we ain't going to be doing it now since they're closing the campground now.
But despite the change of plans, families are counting their blessings to be alive and holding each other a little tighter this Father's Day. Like everything at the Masters, even the simplest details come with a storied past, which brings us to this little kitchen in Aiken County, where the holy grail of sports sandwiches was born.
The famous pimento cheese and egg salad. So this is from the original recipe, right?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
If you ever sampled a pimento cheese at the tournament before the early 2000s, you know this isn't just any bowl full of pimento cheese. This is the stuff of legends, nectar of the green jacket wearing gods. Stella Alexander would know. She helped make giant vats of the stuff for the National for years with her dad, Nick Rangos, the creator of the original Masters pimento cheese.
He started doing the salads and the spreads for the Masters when I was about almost 5 years old.
Nick Rangos was the son of Greek immigrants, a walking, talking picture of the American dream. Anytime he saw an opportunity, he took it.
I grew up with the soda fountain at Woodruff Drugs in Aiken. He owned 4 laundromats. He had a great catering business, opened restaurants, a Ramada Inn and Lounge, and just so many different things. And he would have, all of those things going on at the same time.
But it was a lucky connection that would bring the golfing world and Nick's pimento cheese together.
A friend of a friend, knew Dad, who introduced him to someone at the Augusta National, and I think that's just how it started.
Little did he know a business deal on the side, making pimento cheese and egg salad, would become a conversation piece for millions lucky enough to step foot on the hallowed grounds off Washington Road. People have been trying to perfect this recipe and find the magic secret all these years. What is the magic?
It's really having something fresh. It really, really is, because the pimento cheese was ground up every day. It was prepared fresh every day, put on white bread, the kind that stuck to the roof of your mouth.
Freshness. No fancy cheese, no fancy spice, just fresh.
See this Cadillac? See that car? That would be one of the cars we loaded a lot of eggs in and cheese.
Really?
Filling up the trunk and the back seat of the car till it was probably leaning down. And we made a couple of those trips during the week.
Nick Rangos mixed up the headline-making spread for 45 years until Augusta National changed directions and gave the business to Lifesaver in the early 2000s. How did that affect your dad? What did he say about it?
Quite frankly, it broke his heart. Truly broke his heart.
Stella says he eventually got over it, but never enough to hand over the original recipe.
Dad was not going to give that recipe to anyone.
And if treasure hunters or hackers, the NSA or the ghost of Bobby Jones himself ever tried to get it.
Is it written down anywhere?
It's not written down.
A secret family recipe, they swear, is no secret at all. Delicious. There just aren't even words. But all the recipes you'll find in cookbooks for Masters pimento cheese, Stella says they're all missing the mark. They call for exotic cheeses like Gouda or Havarti or Gruyere. She says it's really basic. The only secret is to enjoy it on a nice spring day at the world's most beautiful golf course.